who's a huge inspiration to me as a sex activist. If you're not already familiar with her, she has a fantastic series called The Red Umbrella Diaries. She's a former sex worker and current media maker. She's blogged about sexuality, culture, and politics since 2004, including stints blogging for Fleshbot and The Village Voice. She spent 3 years as an executive editor at the Aimee Reader Award-winning Spread magazine. She's the author of Naked on the Internet, Hookups, Downloads, and Cashing In on Internet Sexploration, and won a Feminist Porn Award for her film, The Bi Apple. These days, Audacia is the director of the Red Umbrella Project, which amplifies the voices of people in the sex trade through live storytelling events, media training, and advocacy workshops. Her monthly storytelling series, The Red Umbrella Diaries, and her blog, Waking Vixen, were named to the Village Voice's Best of 2010 list. Learn more about her work at redumbrallaproject.org and audaciaray.com. Please welcome Audacia Ray to the stage.
Piece that I wrote from an anthology called Coming and Crying. The piece is called The Johns. I am coming. I can't be coming. I'm fighting it, and that's making it worse. I am trying to fake not having an orgasm. I wonder if you can tell. I've never had an orgasm like this, creep up on me like a bug up my spine, with no foreshadowing whatsoever. This orgasm isn't even inspired a little bit by desire. It's a purely mechanical reaction. I feel a little sick to my stomach when I realize exactly what sensation has brought me to this unfortunate climax. The friction of a very fat man's matted belly hair on my clit. This man I'm on top of is the most repulsive person I've ever allowed to touch me. Sheer physics wouldn't allow him to be on top of me. In fact, I'm not entirely sure how it is that he will stand back up from the position we're in. This man is my John. This orgasm and the wave of revulsion that follows it and makes my skin turn cold makes him my last client in my short career as an escort. I would never date a guy who sees sex workers. Jenny is wide-eyed and disapproving as she sucks on her cigarette. I mean, never. She's really grossed out by the guys she hustles monies from at the shiniest and best gentlemen's clubs in Manhattan. They're pathetic in her estimation. Nothing like her bike messenger boyfriend, who she met at the Bike Collective, where they rebuild vintage fixed gears and then ride around the city on dumpster diving missions. But in the gown clubs, Jenny is decadent and polished, all glitter and sweet, yummy stripper smells, hair flips, and stilettos. She might have a heart of gold. After all, she spends her time out of the club working on social justice projects and uses her money to fund the art projects of people that she shares a Bushwick squat with. But in the club, you wouldn't know it. My boundaries are fierce too, but I draw them differently than Jenny does. Sharing intimacy with Johns is gross and bad. That's why I quit doing full service. I thought I was in control. I invented this character of a nice 20-something New Yorker who just happens to be an escort. But sex is always surprising, and my body reminded me with a strong hit of anarchy that try as I might, I'm not always the person in the driver's seat. So I've neatly excised the potential for inconvenient sexual pleasure from my job. Now I giggle evasively when my massage clients, disappointed in my panties-on approach, ask the smarmy and predictable question, who massages you? Oh, God. The answer is my boyfriend, John. Yes, capital J John, because you just can't make this shit up. Who knows what I do and accepts it mostly because he's John himself. Jenny is tickled pink about the name nonsense when she meets John formally and actually insists on seeing his driver's license. She's sneering mostly because she's put 2 and 2 together. When his work is going well, he's a regular in her club, where the girls refer to him as the hot punk dude. I'm sitting on the bed in his 1-bedroom apartment. It's the only place to sit, really. Bent at the waist, my garter belt cutting into my middle, making it hard to breathe. Actually, it's probably not the garter belt that's making me feel claustrophobic in my body. It's the crazy amount of cocaine coursing through my veins. He doesn't want to get off tonight, and I'm relieved. He does, however, want to watch me in heels and stockings. This can be arranged, I told him earlier on the phone from my place in Brooklyn. I packed my bag, careful to put my stilettos in plastic baggies so they wouldn't tear the stockings as I folded them neatly into place. Some sex workers specialize in clients who like to party or ski or whatever the euphemism for cocaine is these days. I'm not into that. I have boundaries. No intimacy, panties on, and no drugs. But for John, with a capital J, I bend the rules. Again, he's not my John, though he is a John. Our relationship evolved into this thing in the room between us through lunchtime hookups and hourly hotels with no comforters on the beds, a practical measure that is so symbolic as to be absurd. Our relationship is fluid, which sounds nice, but in practice means that it conforms to the containers it is put in, like in middle school science when you're learning about the different kinds of matter. We could shape these flasks and beakers ourselves, being creative and theoretically free-thinking people. However, our containers are the shapes of Hooker and John, slightly remixed to look like a relationship. And though I have lots of rules that protect me from the lurking harms and humiliations a sex worker can be subjected to by Johns as a matter of course, I throw these rules out for John and others like him who aren't paying me for my time. We misbehave, and we misbehave at each other. I let him do things to me that I would never let a John do, and I don't even mean anal. I mean the real messy stuff. No call, no show. Share me with friends. Snort coke off my toes. And in turn, I'm a lazy lover. I'm frequently not in the mood. Sometimes I fake it, and worse yet, sometimes I'm not sure whether I'm faking it or not. Some sex workers say that their Johns make them hate men, but I like my Johns a lot more than I like other men. My Johns don't ever disrespect me the way John does, or rather they do, and I don't hesitate to show them the door. While in my so-called romantic life, the fluidity of our arrangement means I can't get a handle on anything. Thank you.